Hey guys, I'm Jay, and this video is going to be a pocket knife buyer's guide. Now, when I created this video, I really did have new knife collectors in mind. So those of you that are experienced in the knife collecting, you may not find much value in this information because it is going to be some very basic fundamentals. But of course, you're welcome to stick around, but I just want to throw that disclaimer out there. Now, this is my pocket knife pre-purchase ritual. I do this for just about every knife that I'm about to click the buy button on. And I do this so there's not too many surprises once I receive the knife in the mail. I mean, I'm sure, like a lot of you, I get a lot of my knives on Amazon. Now, the specs and, well, like the weight and the width of a blade, a lot of that stuff is usually not listed. So it's really important to find a couple like go-to websites for knife specs. I usually like to start out at like bladehq.com because they usually have quite a bit of information listed for each knife. I mean, a lot of measurements that you might not think of, and it's usually very, very accurate. I still like to match it up against maybe another retailer's website, like I don't know, House of Blades or Knife Center or KnifeWorks or KnifeShipFree.com. You just want to, match it up with information from other websites to make sure that it's consistent. So let's start with my first step is going to be, I like to go ahead and just grab a standard 12-inch ruler, and this is just going to be to see how big or little the handle of a knife is going to be in your hand. So, like, let's say the knife you're about to purchase on the website, it lists the handle length of about, let's say, 5 inches. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll take the ruler and I'll hold it in my hand so I can kind of see how much of the handle is or isn't exposed, while I'm holding it. So let's see, what did we say about a 5-inch handle? So you can kind of see where 5 inches comes on the ruler. And now again, this is just to give just kind of a feel of how the knife handle will kind of be in your hand. Now the next section is going to be handle and blade thickness. Now in my knife reviews, I like to just use a standard number 2 pencil to illustrate the handle thickness. Now obviously owning like a digital caliper is going to be the easiest and the most accurate way to measure the thickness. Now, for example, this digital caliper, this cost me about 25 bucks on Amazon. But, those of you without, you can still get an idea of how thick a knife might be. Now, a standard number 2 pencil is about 7.5 millimeters thick, or it's right around 0.3 inches. Now, a ruler will obviously show you, exact measurements, but for me, it really just doesn't help because I like to really just get a feel for the size of something. Like batteries. Batteries can also help here as well. So if we look at, let's see, one AAA battery, like this, the little guy, that's about 0.40 inches thick. And one single AA is right around a 1/2 inch at 0.55 inches thick. So by using these, I can kind of get an idea of how, wide the handle is going to be in my hand, like when you're holding it in like a pinch grip, for example. Now, the next section is going to be the weight of a knife. Now, I realize not everybody has a scale at home to, to weigh their knives. Although if you're a knife collector and you really plan on sticking with this for quite some time, I highly recommend, maybe getting one. Because, like, for example, this little scale cost me about 10 bucks. But for right now, what we can do is we can take this Gen 6 iPhone. Now, I know that the weight of this without a case it's about 4.1 ounces. And I'll go ahead and weigh it as well, just so you can see. So it looks like we're looking at, well, I said about 4.1 ounces. Looks like it's more about like 3.9. So you know what? Why don't we just call this 4 ounces even on this Gen 6 iPhone. Now this Gen 7 iPhone with the slim case on, it's going to be about 8.4 ounces, which is actually quite a bit for a pocket knife. Now, I know that also that this one AA battery, let's see if I can balance there, it's almost about 1 ounce. I think it's like, yeah, 0.8 ounces. So if you take 4 of these, you're going to have roughly about 3.30 ounces, or 5 of them is going to come in at about 4.5 ounces, which is going to be very similar to the weight of this Gen 6 iPhone. Or we can go ahead and take, let's see, how about this one 9-volt battery, which is going to weigh about 1.2 ounces, or again, this AAA, yeah, it's going to weigh about 0.40 ounces. Now, obviously, it would be a heck of a lot easier to just go ahead and use a knife in your collection that you know the exact weight of. But if you're just starting out in knife collecting, you might not have any other knives that vary in weight or that vary in length yet. Now, I know that everyone is more than capable of, using a ruler to measure stuff or a scale to weigh things. But for me, anyway, like, seeing the size or the weight of something it's a little bit different than actually holding something to get an idea of its size and mass. So now, just to summarize some of the tools: a scale, definitely for knife collectors; a cheap set of, like, I prefer digital calipers; and I do not have on the table, which I should have already grabbed, so I apologize, is a Torx driver. So it's kind of like a star bit sort of shape. Most pocket knives will require this little this Torx bit, and usually for the pivot, to loosen or tighten it up, that's going to be a T8 Torx. And most of the time, for like the body screws and even the screws for the pocket clips, are going to be T6. Now, sometimes there are knives that use different sizes, so I can only say that most pocket knives will require a T6 and a T8 Torx bit. Now, I guess you could also probably consider this video a little like kind of behind the scenes kind of sneak peek at how I do my knife reviews, or like the method to my madness. I mean, now you can see why I like to use a number 2 pencil, and I'll hold it up against the spine of the knife handle just to get an idea of the size, or why I like to use, I like to weigh batteries after weighing the knife, just so you can kind of get a feel for what that weight is actually going to feel like in your hand. So I hope that this information for you new knife collectors is helpful. And if so, if you would please go ahead and just click on that like button. And if you haven't done so already, are you short on time, or maybe are you just looking for knife reviews that get right to the point? Then you know what? You're probably going to go ahead and click on subscribe to my channel, because that's the kind of videos that I am consistently uploading several times a week. So I want to go ahead and thank you guys for stopping by and just kind of letting you show how my mind works. Thanks again, you guys, and I'll see you all at the next video. You guys take care, okay?